Sup fuckers, we're back. Back with my lovely camera wife, Beck. Say hi, Beck.
Hi.
Second edition or whatever the hell you want to call this. We're back again. Thank you everybody for all the positive feedback, and thank you to the people that gave me suggestions on how to make the videos better. Particularly Kid Cisco. He was very adamant in having me change a few things, and I think they're going to change the video quality for the better, so that'd be great. Originally our video tonight was going to be about breakfast. We had technical difficulty with some buttermilk. It was bad, so I decided to switch up the menu tonight. We're going to do a chicken piccata with fresh made pesto over pasta and some sauteed asparagus and red bell pepper. I hope you guys like garlic, because there's going to be a lot of fucking garlic tonight. We are going to go ahead and get started with our chicken piccata. We're going to go through the steps just like we did last time, and enjoy. So, if my wife will pan down to the cutting boards here. We're starting with chicken piccata. We've got some skinless, boneless chicken breasts. You don't need to buy bone-in and skinned chicken breast for this one. I was adamant about it with the thighs because they're really easy to break down. But chicken breast is actually kind of a big fucking pain in the ass. So, we buy them boneless and skinless, ready to go. You're going to see in the chicken right here, this part right here, that part needs to come out. So we're going to trim those out of there. This is a big knife, right? This is a Scimitar. It's my favorite knife. I fucking love it for this thing. So we're going to use just the point. We're going to come up underneath the white, and then we're just going to come back around to take off that little clump of fat on the end. Chicken breast really has no flavor in the stock, so I'm not going to save it. Then you trim off whatever little bit of fat's on there as well, because this is shit and you don't need it in there. We're going to do that with all these breasts, get them all cleaned up. Make sure we get all that little bit of crap skin off of there. All the little white bits underneath got to come out. Because they're just going to they're fucking hard to chew. It's basically just cartilage, so there's no point in having it in there. Get all that out of there. Once you get all the knobby white bits off the inside here, get all the extra fat off the back, we're going to butterfly these bitches. So, what you want to do is you want to lay the chicken flat down. You don't need a big ass knife like this. I just love the thing. So, it makes me feel like a serial killer, even though I'm not, so don't call the cops on me. But I like it because it's bigger than the chicken breast itself, so I can usually do it on one sweep. So you're going to lay it flat on the board. You're going to worry about cutting your fingers off, but you won't if you do it the right way. So you want to start at the thick end here, put your hand flat on the breast, keep your fingers up. Do not put them down in the path of the blade. Small sawing motions across the entire chicken breast until it's split evenly in half like that. It's super simple, doesn't take a long time, and as long as you keep your fingers out of the way, you don't have to be cutting any extra meat that you're not supposed to be cutting. Put the big ass chunk of fat on that one. It's gone now, so don't worry about it. Like I said, we ain't Food Network, we're just doing this shit for sure. So. Get all your chicken breasts done up. Like I said, we got a big family, so we do a fair amount of food over here. Once you got all these chicken titties cut down the way you want them, we're going to get rid of the knife. I'm going to remove the glove that I touched the chicken with so that I can move on to this part. We're going to dredge this chicken in some flour before we cook it tonight. So we're going to take and season the flour because it's going to add extra seasoning at the end. We're going to put about half tablespoon of kosher salt, tablespoon and a half of granulated garlic, and about tablespoon of pepper, give or take. And then we're going to spill it all over the fucking counter because I'm a moron. Alright, we're going to mix all this in with the flour, make sure it's nice and spread out through all the flour. And what we're going to do is we're going to dredge this chicken. Dredging is just the art of putting a little bit of flour on the outside of something. It's not like coating, like you would do the flour, egg, breadcrumb mixture. You just want a little bit of flour. So we're going to lay the chicken in there a couple at a time. Just mash that flour in a little bit, just get some of that seasoning on there. Shake off the excess and move it over to the pan. We do that with all the chicken breasts, and then we're going to move over to the stove. Alright. Once we get all these done, quick process. Don't save this flour for anything else. Don't say, oh, I'm going to use it next time, because it's just going to sit there and have raw chicken shit in it. You're going to get sick, and you're going to blame me. I don't want to fucking hear it. So make sure you toss any flour that you don't use for this process. It's not good for anything else. Alright guys, now that we got all the chicken dredged, we're going to fry it off. You want to put it about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in the bottom of a pan. You don't want to overcrowd this shit in the pan, or it's going to make a lot of water, it's going to boil over, and it's not going to come out right. So we're going to do these 2 at a time. We're going to put them right into that hot oil. We're going to leave them in there for about a minute. 45 seconds to a minute, until each side gets nice and brown. It doesn't need to be overly brown, it just needs to create a small crust on the outside of the chicken. We're going to finish in the oven. So we're going to do, like I said, 2 at a time. Get these fuckers cooked up, pop them in the oven. At this point, I know this video is probably pretty boring, but okay, you decide to watch it. So here we go. Now the point of this process is to try to keep some of the moisture in, give it a nice texture at the end when you put the sauce over it. See, just get a light brown on the outside there. Doesn't need to be too dark, just needs to be a little bit brown. The tiniest bit. Cook it too much, it's going to dry out in the oven. You don't want that, because that shit, dry food sucks ass, we all know that. So we're going to finish these up, and we're going to move over to the piccata sauce and start prepping the vegetables. Alright, so now that we got all of our chicken done, it's in the oven, baking at 350. It's going to take 20-25 minutes. Your oven might be different. I don't freaking know. So if it is, cook it as long as it takes to get it done. If you have a thermometer, 165 degrees internal is what you're looking for. Anything less than that, you're probably going to get salmonella, and that's your own damn fault. So, alright, so we're moving on to the vegetable prep. Like I said, this recipe is going to have a lot of garlic in it, because I like garlic, and I think it calls for it. So, we're going to start with breaking down some garlic first. We'll start with showing you how to get it out of the skin if you don't know how, which you should, because you're a friggin' adult. But if you don't, this will show you how to do it quickly. Alright, so we're going to get started. Alright, so as you can probably see on the board, I've done some here already. With garlic, it's super easy to pop out. You take this whole thing in the skin, take your knife, put it on the side, smack it. Squish it, pop the garlic out of the inside. See? All the garlic's out. It's ready to go. We're going to do it again with the bigger one. Pop it. Oh, so sometimes you get a big root on the bottom right there. You got to peel that away. But other than that, it's just popping it right out of the skin. Alright. Now, because garlic's got a round shape to it, it's a pain in the ass to try to cut it like this. So what I like to do, and what a lot of people like to do, put it on the board, smash the shit out of it. You're going to beat the ever-loving hell out of it. Smush it down onto the board, get it good and flat. Try not to cut yourself in the process by hitting the edge of the knife. Now once you say that's much more manageable, so now that it's all nice smashed flat, we're going to break this down into small pieces. You want a pretty fine mince on this. It doesn't need to be 100% even. You're cooking for home. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Knife cuts are important with some stuff. Garlic, you just want to make sure you don't leave no big ass pieces in there, because you don't want to bite into one of those. I mean, unless you're a garlic nut and you really dig it. I am. I don't mind, but completely up to you however you want to cut it up. Just make sure it's cut down enough to work with. See? Easy enough. We're going to set that off to one side, and we're going to work on the rest of our vegetables here. Get our garlic up off the board. Put that off to the side. Alright, so for the pesto you need fresh basil. If you can't find fresh basil where you at, buying the stuff that's in olive oil is okay. But you're going to want to reduce the amount of olive oil you put into your pesto during the next step. So I bought fresh pesto from the local farm up here. It's fucking delicious and it smells great. And big nice green leaves, there's no rot on it. We washed it up, we picked off most of the stems. If there's any more in there, I'll pick them off when I put them in the friggin' blender. So, next we're going to move to asparagus. If you've never worked with asparagus before, it's very simple. You buy it in the grocery store, it's going to have a rubber band on it. Anything that looks like wood is no good. It's going to be hard, it's going to be fibrous. So we're going to cut above the wood line and get as much of that off as we can. I know this looks like a waste. You can save this, you can use it to make cream of asparagus soup or any number of other dishes, but I wouldn't recommend eating it because it's going to be grainy, it's going to be stringy, it's going to hurt your friggin' teeth. And always make sure you wash vegetables, especially in the era of COVID-19. We don't need none of you guys getting sick. You decided to go to a farmer's market and buy tainted friggin' vegetables. Alright. See how easy that was? Wasn't hard, right? So we're going to break these in half again because we're going to be sauteing them with other vegetables in a pan. It's going to help them stay in the pan, really. Besides the fact that they're too big to put in your mouth all at once like that. We're just going to put those in a bowl off to the side here. Now they're all done up. That was super simple. Anybody can do it. If you can't, maybe you need to get your adult license revoked or something. I don't know. So, now we're done with that. We got one more vegetable to do. We're going to do some red bell peppers. We're going to do these up to go with the asparagus. They are local, from a local farm, like the basil. That shit. Yeah. All right. So, if you've never broken down a bell pepper, this is the way I prefer to do it. A lot of people cut the top off of it, pick the whole seed bundle out. It's a waste of pepper because there's still really good pepper up here at the top. You're going to throw away a fair amount of vegetable. So what I like to do is split them in half. Just take my fingers underneath, pop the seed stem out. You can leave all that right in there, and then you just reach in here and you pick out the membrane, pull it all out, tap the seeds out, and you got a nice clean pepper ready to go. I'm going to do this with 2 large peppers. Because my wife loves peppers. This woman will eat nothing but peppers every day if I fucking let her. So, but we're not going to let her today. She's going to eat real food. Alright, so now that you got these all clean, spread out, don't mind if there's a couple seeds in there still, it's going to be fine. You're going to julienne them down. A julienne is just a thin slice. It's pretty fucking simple to accomplish. What you're going to do is you're going to start. Well, this is the way I do it. You can do it however you want. I start with it up on the side like this, and I roll it as I come down to keep the flat part on the board. Just like that. Now that we got these like this, we're going to split them into 3s or 4s. Well, these are 4s because these are way bigger. And we're going to do that with all of them so that they're not giant pieces of red pepper floating around in your asparagus. Just like so. Sometimes you get a big knob at the end right there. If you don't want to freaking work with it, just cut down into the knob to get it flat for you. So you can work with it a little bit easier and reduce the risk of cutting yourself with a knife. As I explained last time, that's the end you cut yourself with. Alright. That's actually the easy part of the vegetable. That's all the vegetable prep. That was easy, right? So, now we're going to move on to making the pesto sauce. Alright guys, so we got all the vegetable prep done. We got the chicken in the oven. We're getting in it. We're getting down to the wire here. It's only going to take a few more minutes to get this shit done. So we're working on pesto now. If you've never had fresh homemade pesto, you are fucking missing out. If you've only ever had the stuff in the jars or the stuff in a restaurant that comes in a big plastic bag already made, you got to try this. This is probably one of the best things ever. I love fresh homemade pesto. So we're going to start with the basil leaves that I showed you guys earlier. They are, I want to say there's about 5 ounces of basil leaves here. They're fresh from the local farm. They've been picked clean of their stems, so that, because stems will leave a gritty, shitty texture, and you don't want that. It's gross. So we're going to put our basil leaves into our blender, or our food processor, sorry. If you don't own a food processor, this is going to be a difficult task. If you have a blender, you can do this too, but you got to do it a little bit differently. If you want to ask me later in Discord or shoot me a message on Twitter or something, I can tell you how to do it in a blender. But this is the way I do it in the food processor. So we got our fresh basil in here. Now we're going to put these in. These are called pine nuts. These are literally the seed from a pine cone. They taste like a fucking Christmas tree. It's weird as shit, but they add the best flavor to pesto. So there's probably, I want to say 2 ounces of pine nuts here. We're going to add all of those in. We're going to add a teaspoon and a half of the fresh garlic that we just made, or that we just chopped up. We didn't fucking make it because, of course, we're not that good at anything. We can't just make fucking anything. So now that we got all that stuff in there, we're going to get our trusty olive oil again, and we are going to take this for a spin. So you want to start this without any oil in it to start breaking everything down. Like I said in the last video, if you have auditory issues, this is going to get loud, so you may want to turn down your volume a little bit. But we're gonna beat the hell out of this. We're gonna beat it like it owes us money real quick. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Maybe.
What?
So, if you're a fucking moron like me and you forget to screw the base of the food processor all the way to the bottom, it's not going to turn on. So, don't be a fucking moron like me. Alright, let's get back to what we were doing now. So, make sure the base of your food processor is on, or the bowl of your food processor is on the fucking base all the way. That's how we start this. Then, alright, now we're going to spin this until it starts to break down. You'll see it comes down pretty quickly. It's going to start breaking up really fast. See on the side here, there's some big old leaves that didn't make it up. So we're just going to take a rubber spatula, open that up, toss them down in there. We're going to have for a few more seconds, and then once it's broken down really well, we're going to start drizzling in the olive oil a little bit at a time. You don't want to make this too oily. You just want to make like a green paste. A little bit extra oil is okay because it's going to help spread it throughout the pasta better, but you definitely don't want it super thin or it's just going to be oil and it's going to taste like fucking olive oil. So we're going to give it 5 or 6 more seconds and we're going to start drizzling in the olive oil. Check to make sure you didn't have any hangers-ons up on the side, and we didn't. It came out pretty nice. Now you can see pesto. That's fresh pesto. If you could smell this right now, you would cream your jeans. It smells so fresh and so delicious. So that's how you make pesto. It's super simple, and it tastes so good. Don't buy that bullshit from the store, please. Make your own. It's gonna taste so much better. You're really gonna enjoy it. And I can't say anything else about it. Stop being fucking lazy and make your own pesto. Picatta sauce now. Picatta sauce is super simple. 5 ingredients. Garlic, it's white wine, it's lemon juice, it is capers, and butter. A lot of butter. Make sure, again, it's real fucking butter. Do not use margarine. I fucking fucking hate margarine. Alright, so we got a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. We're going to get that, we got that nice and hot. We're going to drop in our garlic. We want to get the garlic nice and tanned. Get it cooking really nicely. It's going to spread all that through the oil because this literally is going to be like a butter and oil based sauce. Probably not good for you, but it tastes fucking good. If you don't want to live forever, I recommend it. So, we're going to get that going. Oh, you can smell it, so good. Alright, we'll get that going. Once that starts to really, start to brown up a little bit, we're going to add booze. I got Sauvignon Blanc. It's a white wine. Use the cheap shit for cooking. Drink the expensive shit. Do not use expensive shit to cook with. I will come to your house and I will slap you in the teeth. So, you can see our garlic starting to brown up nicely. It's fried up in that oil real good. This is going to look like a lot of wine, and it is a lot of wine, but I'll tell you why after I put it in there. Alright, we use about half a bottle, okay? But we're going to reduce this down by half, and in the process it's going to cook off a little bit of the alcohol, and it's going to make this somewhat sour wine really nice and sweet, and then we're going to add some sour back into it. Before that gets going real good, I want these to pick up. These are capers. I don't know if you ever had capers before. It's the pod from some flower somewhere, but this ain't fucking National Geographic, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. It comes in a liquid. It's a brine. You want to get most of this liquid out. You want to save a little bit because it does have a nice flavor. You don't want to get rid of all of it. So you're just going to take the cap, put it over the top of the thing. We're going to drain it until there's just a little bit of liquid left in the top. See, there's just a tiny bit still in the capers. We're going to add those right into the wine. They're kind of vinegary, almost lemony smell. And I added 2 containers of capers. That's a lot, but I really like capers. You don't have to put that many in there. If you don't know what they are and you don't like them, you can leave them out, but the sauce is going to lose something. So, we're going to let that cook down until it's reduced by about half. Alright, so our white wine is reduced by about half. You can see how much less there is in the pot. Well, there's a lot of steam, so you might not be able to see it great, but there. You see it's reduced down quite a bit, alright? And I'm trying to burn my wife with boiling water. Alright, so now that that's reduced down by half, we're going to add about 2/3 of a cup of lemon juice. Just regular old lemon juice to that. And then we're going to add that butter that we cut down earlier. So we're going to add this in, all the pats. We're going to add 5 or 6 at a time, and we're going to stir those in. You should see as you start to stir these in, the sauce is going to thicken slightly. It's not going to be as thick as it would be if you added a cornstarch or some fucking flour or something to it, but it's going to start to thicken just a little bit as it cooks. We're only going to add a little bit at a time because we don't want to bring the temperature down on it too fast. We want this sauce to stay nice and hot while we're working with it. As soon as the first 6 melt, we're going to add 6 more. Stir them in nicely. You can use a whisk, you can use a spoon. Use whatever you got. My kitchen ain't your kitchen. Do whatever you feel you need to do to get it in there. Now that that's all stirred in, we're going to add the last 3. Well, there's a few little pieces floating around in there, but we're going to add those last 3 to it. You can see it melting in there nice. You can see the sauce change a nice milky color. It's all playing nice in that little party in there. Oop. Glad I ain't using fire. That would just blow up my face. It would have been funny. That would have been a hell of a video right there. Taco truck sets his face on fire. Put that shit on Reddit. Alright. So now we got all the butter in there. You can see that it's come a little bit thicker than it was before. It's not as watery. We're going to cook that down just about a quarter so it thickens up the rest of the way, so we don't have any cornstarch or any excess flour or anything to it. We're going to pull our chicken out of the oven, and as soon as our pasta is ready, we're going to start plating. I said we were going to start plating, but I mean we're going to start the vegetables, so let's try that instead. Back with the vegetables now. So I've got a large skillet over high heat. We put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there. We're going to add 5 slivers of butter. You can cut these way thinner than you did the last ones. We're just adding it in there for the little bit of extra flavor. I use unsalted butter so that I can add salt to the dish without changing the flavor of it, because you never know how salty the butter is going to be. So we just want to get that butter melted into the olive oil. And as that's melting, we're going to add all the rest of the garlic that we chopped up. It's a lot, but it's delicious. You love it. You're going to eat it. We'll saute that just for a second to let some of the flavor infuse into the oil. Not for very long at all. You can see some big old chunks of garlic in there. Those are going to be delicious. As we let that start to infuse into the oil a little bit, we're going to go straight in with the bell peppers. And we're going to saute those until they start to wilt a little bit, or they start to break down a little bit. The asparagus is going to be sauteed, but it doesn't need to be overly sauteed. It can be just steamed inside of it, which is fine. It doesn't need to be overly cooked. If you cook asparagus too much, it gets mushy. It tastes like shit. You see, I got our pasta boiling over here that I told you I wasn't going to tell you how to make. I gotta find the friggin' lid for the frying pan. Hey, look, I found it. Alright, we got our bell peppers and our garlic going in the pan. Those are cooking away nicely. Our pasta's cooking away nicely. We're waiting for our vegetables to finish up. They're over there on the stove steaming up. We're gonna blend our pasta with our sauce, our pesto sauce that we made earlier. Now, purists are going to say, you forgot Parmesan cheese. There's a reason I forgot Parmesan cheese. I don't like it to blend in with the pesto. I like it to be nice and chunky on the inside, so I've got it right here. So, what we're going to do, we're going to take our Parmesan cheese, we're going to mix it in with our pesto real quick. It's going to make it a little bit thicker. It's going to be a nice green, boogery looking paste. So you end up with that, right? Now we're going to blend this in with our pasta. You're going to take all of it, you can dump it right in on top. Whatever pasta you choose, I chose spaghetti. You can do rotini, you can do cavatappi, you can do fucking Kraft dinner macaroni if you want to. Just keep the cheese packet up. So we add that all in. We're going to take a pair of tongs or a couple of spoons or something, and we're just going to move it around. Make sure to try to coat every piece of pasta with this sauce to spread the flavor out. It's very strong because of the fresh basil, so you want to make sure you get everything a good coat. With that little bit of olive oil in there, it's going to make sure that the pasta doesn't stick together after a few minutes, which is typically a problem. Just going to blend it all in together. It's going to have a nice green view to it. Make sure I get grab my rubber spatula back. Make sure we get all that stuff off the sides and make sure it gets mixed in real good. It likes to stick to the outside. All right, there you go. There's our pesto pasta right there. I made a mess all over the counter. Now ask me if we give a shit. Like I told you yesterday, or in the last video, the whole point of this isn't to try to be the Food Network, just trying to show you how to make good food. So, our pasta's ready, our chicken is ready, our sauce is almost reduced, and we're going to go back and finish up the vegetables. we're going to do that in just a second. We've got our sauce back here on the stove. It is just simmering to break it down like we talked about. It's not at a boil, just a slight simmer, just to kind of let it come down a little bit. We use my trusty Insta-Read thermometer here. We're going to check the chicken. I'm not going to let you see the inside of my oven because, well, just because. Don't look at the inside of my oven. Alright, our chicken is ready. Pull that out of here. Alright, you can see the peppers now have started to lose some of their shape. They're starting to break down a little bit. That's perfect. We want that just like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our asparagus, we're going to lay it right on top. And just like with the spinach in the last, oh look, hey, there's basil in there. Just like the spinach in the last video, we're going to clamp the lid over and we're going to let it steam for a few minutes. Just to start to cook some of the asparagus down. We're waiting for our vegetables to finish up. They're over there on the stove steaming up. We're going to blend our pasta with our sauce, our pesto sauce that we made earlier. Now, purists are going to say, you forgot Parmesan cheese. There's a reason I forgot Parmesan cheese. I don't like it to blend in with the pesto. I like it to be nice and chunky on the inside, so I've got it right here. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take our Parmesan cheese, we're going to mix it in with our pesto real quick. It's going to make it a little bit thicker. It's going to be a nice green, boogery looking paste. So you end up with that, right? Now we're going to blend this in with our pasta. You're going to take all of it, you can dump it right in on top. Whatever pasta you choose, I chose spaghetti. You can do rotini, you can do cavatappi, you can do fucking Kraft dinner macaroni if you want to. Just keep the cheese packet out. So we add that all in. We're going to take a pair of tongs or a couple of spoons or something, and we're just going to move it around. Make sure to try to coat every piece of pasta with this sauce to spread the flavor out. It's very strong because of the fresh basil. Alright guys, we're back at the vegetables. You can see that the steam has started to break down the asparagus nicely. Now we want to add our seasoning to it. We're going to add just some salt and pepper to this. It's got a fair amount of garlic in it already. I'm not going to tell you how much salt and pepper. That's dependent on how you like your food. I like my food to be relatively heavily peppered with not as much salt. So I've got some coarse table ground pepper and some kosher salt. We're just going to spread that over the top of that. We're going to give it a quick toss to bring it all together. We're going to throw it all over the kitchen because that's the fun way to do shit. And this pan's way too small. Set the lid back on that. We're going to let it steam for another couple of minutes, and then we're going to go to plating. Alright guys, we're at the end. Followed all the steps, or you just like watching it, whatever. But we're going to go ahead and plate everything up now so I can show you what it looks like at the end. So, we're going to get our chicken on the plate first. I'm going to grab one of these and set it right there. We're going to go into our pasta here. Twirl some up on the tongs. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll try something there. Try to get a fair amount on there. Put a small pile of that right under there. Try not to fling it all over the bottom of the plate. Alright. We'll give it some veggies. Our asparagus with red peppers and garlic. A little bit of butter. Make sure you get some of that color on top. And then we'll go in for the sauce for the chicken. Here's our piccata sauce when it's all said and done. It's a little bit thick, super buttery, good and rich. I'm going to take just a small spoonful of that. put that right over the top of our chicken. So that, guys and girls, is how we make chicken piccata with fresh pesto pasta with asparagus and red bell pepper. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Thanks again for the support last time. I look forward to hearing your comments on this one. If you have any suggestions for anything you'd like to see made, shoot me a message on Discord. You can find me on Twitter. If you would like to be invited to my Discord, just shoot me a message on Discord from anywhere you can find me. If you can't find me, hit me up on Twitter. So that's the end of the video for today. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And enjoy.